Welcome to the weekly legislative update. My name's Tom Bowler, legislative representative for the State Bar. Once again, I'm flying solo. Ken Shigley is at a bar meeting down out of town and won't join us today. So again, I'm flying solo. It was a very busy week. We've finished 30 days of the legislative session. We are now on recess until Monday. There are 10 days remaining. All bills that originated in the House have already moved to the Senate. Those that didn't make it by day 30 are dead bills. Same with bills moving from the Senate to the House. Everything had to cross over by day 30, which was Wednesday. So the crush at the end of the week was pretty massive. The Senate stayed in session until 10:15, 10:30 on Wednesday night. And I think passed a series of bills dealing with everything from unemployment insurance extensions to legislation affecting 18-year-olds being able to legally carry guns, to assisted suicide. The House passed the FY13 budget, and so it was a very busy week. From the State Bar standpoint, it was hectic, but it was a very positive and a very good week. Most importantly, the House on Monday last week passed the legislation that will dedicate funds to the Indigent Defense Program. It was the constitutional amendment and the enabling legislation passed. It was a tremendous effort. I want to thank all of you who wrote or emailed or called your legislators. We had over 700 email messages to legislators urging them to support that legislation. And the most effective communication to legislators is from constituents, so we thank you. And I also want to thank Representative Richard Golick. Rich was the leader on that issue. He's worked on that issue tirelessly for the last 2 years, both on the governance and the funding of indigent defense, and he was a tremendous advocate for that legislation. It was a very strong bipartisan effort. Stacey Abrams, House Minority Leader, was crucial to the effort, as was Stephanie Benefield, and Minority Whip Ed Lindsay. All were very active and very supportive, and we couldn't have passed those two bills without their support and their effort. That legislation now goes to the Senate. It has been assigned to the Appropriations Committee, and we expect that there'll be subcommittee meetings and hearings on those bills in the next few days. In addition to indigent defense, we also were able to pass legislation that revised the entire Open Meetings, Open Records Act. That passed on the 30th day. We also passed the budget. FY13 budget was passed by the House, and contained in that budget were some key budget items for the judicial branch, one of which was full funding for the Georgia Resource Center that handles post-conviction appeals. We were asking for a budget number of about $800,000. That would be an increase of some $250,000 from last year. The House kept that increase in the budget, and so we're going to try and hold that in the Senate. Likewise, our budget request for funding for victims of domestic violence was included in the House budget, as was funding for ICJE, and funding for the Public Defender Standards Council. The Indigent Defense Program was a sizable increase again this year to $40,400,000, I believe. So all of those budget requests were very important, and all were kept into the House version, and we'll try to keep those in the Senate as the next 10 days pass. Also passing was the tax tribunal legislation The Revenue Department will have essentially have an administrative law judge handle tax disputes within the Department of Revenue. That was a bill that came out of legislation that was introduced last year, and that too will move on to the Senate. And finally, the criminal justice reform measures. Unlike all the other legislation, there was a special process established for handling the criminal justice reform bills that we expect to come out of the recommendation of the special counsel appointed by the governor, lieutenant governor, speaker, and chief justice. Because of the special provisions and the special process, that legislation did not have to cross over by day 30. And so work continues on that. I think the various interest groups and the various members of the legislature are working hard with the governor's office and others. And I think the results are going to be good. I'm optimistic that they will have a bill within the next week or so to present to both houses of the legislature. And work continues on that, and we expect results soon. Many of you have an interest or have expressed an interest in House Bill 242, what has been known as the American Law in Georgia Courts legislation. That bill did not make it onto the calendar in the House on the 30th day, so essentially that bill is dead for this legislative session. For all other issues that you may be interested in, don't hesitate to visit the State Bar's website, call our office, send us an email. Whatever information we can provide, we'll be happy to do that. If you have questions, let us know. But until then, have a great week, and we'll see you next Friday.